Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm really happy you are here today. Are you ready for a little adventure? Because today I have a new story for you, and it's all about travel. In this episode, I will tell you about a trip, a place with green hills, old castles, and peaceful moments. We will go on a journey together through words, sounds, and imagination. You don't need a passport or a ticket. Just relax, listen carefully, and enjoy the story. It's simple, easy to follow, and perfect for English learners at A2 level. After the story, we'll also look at some important and interesting words. I'll explain the meaning of each word, and I'll give you an example sentence too. This will help you learn English in a fun and natural way. So, sit back, get comfortable, and let's begin our travel story together. Are you ready? Let's go! I was sitting on my couch. I felt tired. I looked outside the window. It was raining. It had been raining for 3 days. I needed a change. I needed some sunshine. I needed something new. Have you ever felt like that? Like you need to go somewhere, even if you don't know exactly where? I opened my laptop. I started looking at travel websites. I saw pictures of many places. Beaches, mountains, cities, countrysides. They all looked so beautiful. One picture caught my eye. It was a photo of a street in Barcelona, Spain. The sun was shining. People were walking and smiling. There were colorful buildings. I could almost hear the music. I thought, I want to go there. So I made a decision. I would go to Barcelona. It would be my first time traveling alone. I felt excited. I also felt a little nervous. But I knew it was the right time. Have you ever traveled alone? How did you feel before the trip? I booked a flight. I found a small hotel. I made a list of things to pack. I started reading about Barcelona. I learned that people speak Spanish and Catalan there. I learned about the famous places. I made a list of things to see. The Sagrada Familia, Park Güell, La Rambla, the Gothic Quarter. I also started thinking about what to eat. I read about tapas. I read about churros. I read about paella. I love food, so I was really excited. Do you try local food when you travel? What's the most interesting food you've tried? I packed my suitcase. I checked my documents. Passport? Yes. Ticket? Yes. Clothes? Yes. Camera? Yes, I was ready. The day of my trip arrived. I woke up very early. The sun was just rising. I took a shower. I dressed in comfortable clothes. I called a taxi. I was on my way to the airport. The airport was busy. There were people everywhere. Some were running. Some were talking. Some were waiting. I waited in line to check in. I gave my passport to the airline worker. She smiled. She gave me my boarding pass. I went through security. I took off my shoes. I took out my laptop. Everything was fine. I walked to my gate. I sat down and waited. While I was waiting, I looked around. I saw people of all ages. Some were traveling for business. Some were traveling for fun. Some looked happy. Some looked tired. I thought, every person here has a story. I bought a sandwich. I drank some orange juice. I read a book. I listened to music. I checked the time. Finally, the announcement came. Now boarding flight to Barcelona. I stood up. I walked to the line. Have you ever waited a long time for a flight? What do you do to pass the time? I entered the plane. I found my seat. It was by the window. I put my bag in the overhead compartment. I sat down. I looked out the window. I smiled. The plane took off. I felt a little nervous, but also excited. I looked at the clouds. I love looking at clouds from above. They look like cotton. They look soft. They look peaceful. The flight was smooth. The flight attendants were friendly. They served drinks and snacks. I chose water and a small sandwich. I watched a movie. I listened to music. I took a short nap. The person next to me was an old man. He was reading a book. He smiled at me. We started talking. He was from Argentina. He was going to Barcelona to visit his daughter. We talked about travel. We talked about food. We talked about books. It was a nice conversation. Have you ever met someone interesting on a flight? After a few hours, the pilot announced, "We will be landing soon." I looked out the window. I saw the city. I saw buildings. I saw the sea. I felt excited again. The plane landed. I clapped quietly. I always do that when I land safely. I thanked the crew. I took my bag. I walked out of the plane. The airport in Barcelona was big. I followed the signs. I went to the baggage claim. I found my suitcase. I walked out. I looked for a taxi. I got in a taxi. I told the driver the name of my hotel. He smiled and started driving. The ride to the hotel was short. I looked outside the window. The sun was shining. People were walking. There were trees. There were flowers. The city felt alive. We arrived at the hotel. It was small but cute. I checked in. The receptionist was kind. She gave me the key. I went to my room. I opened the window. I took a deep breath. I was really there. I was in Barcelona. What do you do first when you arrive in a new city? I changed my clothes. I washed my face. I grabbed my camera. I took a map. I left the hotel. I started walking. I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to see the city. I walked and walked. I saw beautiful buildings. I saw street performers. I saw cafes. I took photos. I ate an ice cream. I smiled a lot. I felt free. I felt happy. I felt proud. I was traveling alone. And I was doing great. The first place I visited was La Rambla. It is a long street with many shops, cafes, and people. I walked slowly. I stopped to look at souvenirs. I saw a small stand selling handmade jewelry. I bought a bracelet. It had blue and white beads. I thought of my sister. She loves jewelry. I decided to buy her a gift later. I heard music. A man was playing the guitar. He was very good. A small crowd stood around him. Some people danced. Some took videos. The air felt warm. The city felt alive. I took a deep breath and smiled. Have you ever been to a place full of music and life? How did it make you feel? I kept walking until I reached the Boqueria market. It was busy and colorful. There were fruits, vegetables, cheese, ham, and sweets. I tried a piece of mango. It was sweet and juicy. I bought a small smoothie. It was cold and refreshing. I saw a stand with Spanish ham. The man behind the counter smiled. Want to try? He asked. I nodded. He gave me a slice. It was salty and soft. I liked it. Delicious, I said. Thank you. Later. I walked to the Gothic quarter. The streets were narrow and old. I saw old buildings with balconies. I saw people drinking coffee outside. I saw children playing. I felt like I had traveled back in time. One thing I noticed, in Barcelona, people take their time. They enjoy the moment. They drink coffee slowly. They talk to each other. They don't rush. I liked that very much. Do you live in a fast or slow city? Which do you prefer and why? That evening, I ate tapas. Tapas are small plates of food. I tried patatas bravas, fried potatoes with spicy sauce, olives, cheese, and bread with tomato. I also tried sangria. It's a sweet drink with wine and fruit. I sat alone, but I didn't feel lonely. I was surrounded by people. I listened to their voices. I watched their faces. I felt connected. The next day, I woke up early. I had breakfast at the hotel. I ate toast, cheese, and fruit. I drank coffee. Then I packed a small bag and headed to the beach. I took the metro. It was clean and fast. I followed the signs. I got off at Barceloneta station. I walked toward the beach. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. I was smiling. When I reached the beach, I took off my shoes. I felt the sand. It was warm and soft. I sat down. I closed my eyes. I listened to the waves. I heard laughter. I heard the sound of seagulls. Do you enjoy the beach? What do you usually do when you're there? I put on sunscreen. I took out my book. I started reading. I read 2 chapters. Then I went for a swim. The water was cold at first, but after a few minutes, it felt perfect. I swam and floated. I felt free. After swimming, I dried off. I walked to a small beach cafe. I ordered a cold drink and a sandwich. I sat and watched people. Some were sunbathing. Some were playing volleyball. Some were walking dogs. Everyone looked happy. I spent the whole day there. I didn't check my phone. I didn't think about work. I just enjoyed the moment. Have you ever spent a whole day without looking at your phone? How did it feel? In the evening, I walked back to the metro. I was tired but happy. I felt calm. I felt light. I knew this trip was special. The next day, I joined a free walking tour. There were people from many countries: Germany, Brazil, Turkey, Japan, and more. Our guide's name was Clara. She was funny and knew a lot about the city. We walked through small streets, saw churches, museums, and beautiful buildings. Clara told us interesting stories about kings, artists, and old times. I took a lot of photos. I also started talking with another traveler named Mina. She was from South Korea. Mina and I walked together. We talked about our homes, favorite foods, and why we love traveling. It was nice to connect with someone new. At lunch, we went to a small local restaurant. The food was amazing and cheap. We shared a big pan of paella. Have you ever made a new friend while traveling? What did you talk about? After lunch, we visited Park Güell. It's a colorful park made by the artist Gaudí. The buildings look like something from a fairy tale. We took pictures together. The view of the city was fantastic. Later, we walked more, talked more, and laughed a lot. We even planned to meet again the next day. That evening, I went back to my hotel. I felt thankful. I had seen so many things. I had met someone kind, and I still had more days to explore. On my last day, I decided to do something relaxing. I visited Montjuic, a large hill with a great view of the city. I took a cable car to the top. The view was breathtaking. I could see the whole city, the beach, and the sea. I visited a castle there. It was quiet. I sat on a bench and watched the city below. I felt peaceful. I thought about my trip. Every moment felt special. Then I took the metro back and stopped at a cafe I had seen before. I had churros with chocolate. It was sweet and warm, the perfect way to end a trip. Before I packed my bags, I wrote a few postcards to my family. I wanted to share my happiness. I thanked the hotel staff and left a small tip. Now, I want to give you some tips for your next trip. Plan but stay flexible. You might discover new things if you leave some time free. Try local food. Even if it's new or strange, you may find your new favorite dish. Talk to people. Locals and other travelers can make your trip richer. Pack light. Carrying less makes traveling easier. Take photos but also live in the moment. Sometimes, the best memories are not on camera. What's your number one travel tip? If you had one day in Barcelona, what would you do? That evening, I went back to my hotel. I felt thankful. I had seen so many things. I had met someone kind, and I still had more days to explore. On my last day, I decided to do something relaxing. I visited Montjuic, a large hill with a great view of the city. I took a cable car to the top. The view was breathtaking. I could see the whole city, the beach, and the sea. I visited a castle there. It was quiet. I sat on a bench and watched the city below. I felt peaceful. I thought about my trip. Every moment felt special. Then I took the metro back and stopped at a cafe I had seen before. I had churros with chocolate. It was sweet and warm, the perfect way to end a trip. Before I packed my bags, I wrote a few postcards to my family. I wanted to share my happiness. I thanked the hotel staff and left a small tip. Now, I want to give you some tips for your next trip. Plan but stay flexible. You might discover new things if you leave some time free. Try local food. Even if it's new or strange, you may find your new favorite dish. Talk to people. Locals and other travelers can make your trip richer. Pack light. Carrying less makes traveling easier. Take photos but also live in the moment. Sometimes, the best memories are not on camera. What's your number one travel tip? If you had one day in Barcelona, what would you do? Now, let's take a moment to look at some of the useful words. From today's episode, these words will help you understand and remember the story better. Let's go over them together. 1. Hill, meaning a small, high area of land. Example, we walked up the hill to see the town. Breathtaking, meaning very beautiful or exciting. Example, the view from the hill was breathtaking. Castle, meaning a big old building where kings and queens lived. Example, the castle looked strong and beautiful. 4. Peaceful, meaning very quiet and calm. Example, the village was small and peaceful. 5. Happiness, meaning the feeling of being happy. Example, walking in nature gives me happiness. 6. Flexible, meaning able to change or move easily. Example, I like to have a flexible travel plan. 7. Discover, meaning to find something new. Example, I love to discover new places and foods. Strange, meaning not normal or usual. Example, the house looked strange but interesting. 9. Guide, meaning a person who shows you places. Example, our guide spoke 3 languages. 10. Thankful, meaning feeling happy because of something good. Example, I was very thankful for the help I got. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed the story and learned some new words today. It's always fun to learn English with real stories and useful vocabulary. Try to use the new words in your own sentences. That helps a lot. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also leave a comment below and tell me, what was your favorite word from today? Or where would you like to travel in the future? I love reading your comments and I'm very thankful for your support. So, Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep smiling. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.